All right, so today is Thursday, the 27th of November, 2025. Apologies, the lighting behind me is not too sharp. Just a second. Okay, I think it's better now. All right. Apologies, we're starting late. We're having some little uh, adjustments to do right here at the office in Lagos. I mean, the training facility precisely. All right, so today is Thursday, the 27th of November, 2025. We're having an afternoon analysis session. Yes, we're starting, Mr. Toyinbo and Oppo. All right, so today we don't have any tradable fundamental events because the United States is on holiday. We're having bank holiday in the US, and that will impact upon the US dollar. And you know, the dollar is the king in the forex market. So not only the dollar will be impacted, virtually other financial instruments will also be impacted with this news. So the market is going to move purely technically. So I'm going straight to the charts straight away. Now, before we go into the analysis for today, I want to give us an update on some of the analysis we had at the beginning of the week. At the beginning of the week, I gave you my outlook for the Euro AUD, and I said I was bearish. And I specifically said I was expecting a breakout below this minor support here. That was the analysis on Monday, precisely, my weekly market outlook. I said I was expecting a new candle to break out below this low, and from there we'll see a move to the downside. And that has happened as analyzed. So far, price has dropped to the tune of about 54 pips. Now, we are still bearish on the Euro AUD. However, price is also back to another support zone. So if you miss the entry earlier on, you cannot enter now. You need to wait for a new candle to open below this current support zone here. In fact, we have it as a resistance, support, and price is back there. So it's possible we may have a clear breakout straight away or a retracement and a breakout, whichever one. But you cannot enter now until a new candle opens below that support zone. But so far, so good. In line with the previous analysis, we've seen a move of 54 pips to the downside, and we still expect further breakouts if a new candle opens below that support zone. Also, another analysis I made on Monday was it Monday? Okay, that should be yesterday. I wasn't around on Monday. That was yesterday. I was looking at USD CAD. And I said I was bearish on the USD CAD on 1 hour. And the market has gone exactly in line with that analysis. This is the USD CAD on daily. And we have a descending trend line up there with a resistance and some rejection candles. And the view was that we were bearish on the USD CAD on 1 hour if price breaks out below this minor support zone. And that equally has happened. We've seen price, break out, retest, and still drop further. The USD CAD has dropped to the tune of about 44 pips in line with the analysis on the USD CAD. Now, that's just the update on what we've done so far from yesterday. So let's go to what we can see on the chart this afternoon. Don't forget the market is purely technical today because there is no fundamental event to trade. Now, I'm seeing a lot of some kind of weakness across the CHF pairs. I'm seeing three, but I'll mention just two so that we don't bug ourselves with too many of these. Now, the Euro CHF, I'm looking closely at this particular instrument, and these are my reasons. Now, this is the Euro CHF on the daily time frame. All right, so on the daily time frame, we can see that the Euro CHF price is descending in the bearish direction. There's a downtrend movement on the daily time frame. Price is making a series of lower high, and a lower high. And not only that, there's also a resistance that is very, very close to this level. It's touching the T. So technically, we are looking for a downward movement on the Euro CHF. So we can flip down to the 1 hour time frame, and this is it on the 1 hour. You can see that price is trying to form what is looking like a shoulder, a head, possibly a second shoulder, and a downward movement. But then we still look out for more clarity by drawing our trend line and the second one if it's possible, and we can see that this works fine, giving us a rising wedge pattern. All right, so we have price hitting the resistance on the daily. This is the point of confluence here. Price hitting the resistance, forming a rising wedge and a head and shoulder pattern. Now, if this pattern works out as we have seen, and price breaks out below the neckline region, we'll be looking at taking a sell on the Euro CHF. So we're going to be waiting for that to happen. Will it happen today? Well, I can't say. It all depends on the level of volatility in the market. Usually when there is this holidays, markets can be very slow. So we never can tell. Let's just watch it closely. If the volatility is strong enough to break that level, we will see the market go into itself. But however it goes, I maintain my bearish outlook on the Euro CHF. And the profit potential of this setup can be to the tune of about, let's just say roughly 20 pips to Fibonacci 38.2, about 40 pips to Fibonacci 50, and as much as about 60 pips to Fibonacci 1.8. So between 40 and 60 pips movement is anticipated on this instrument. So we're bearish on the Euro CHF. Please. Yeah, please send me comment. All right, apologies for that little break. So we're bearish on the Euro CHF. And I'm also bearish on the GBP CHF. So let me do both the CHF together. Now the GBP CHF, I've been watching it in that bearish direction from the beginning of the week. So now that Euro CHF is following suit, probably we should be expecting that bearish breakout. Now for the GBP CHF, you can see on the daily time frame is also in a downtrend. Price is making a series of lower high, another lower high. And there is a previous support, and resistance. So we have lower highs and support turned resistance. So the overall bias for this instrument is actually, should be downtrend. Yeah, I know if you've seen a series of bullish candles all along, but then notwithstanding, we are following the principles, not the colors of the candles. So we have the confluence here where the trend line and the support turn resistance both meet. That's our confluence zone from where we anticipate a drop on the GBP CHF, just like we saw it on the Euro CHF. So we'll flip down to 1 hour time frame. And this is 1 hour. Again, we can draw our trend line to form a rising wedge pattern. Now, this one is not looking like the head and shoulder we saw on the Euro CHF, but then it can as well still pass for a triple top, all things being equal. But like I always say, don't get hung up on patterns, just follow the principles. So at this point, we're expecting a reversal to the downside. So if price is able to break out below this minor support here and also below the lower trend line, we will see a bearish breakout on the GBP CHF. Don't forget, RSI is our confirmation, must be clearly below 50 and possibly, not compulsory, but possibly MACD also below 0. So we're bearish on the GBP CHF. So please pay a lot of attention to these two CHF pairs. We're bearish on both of them. And I'm also bearish on the NZD JPY, that's the New Zealand JPY. Now, for the NZD JPY, price is currently trading at a resistance level on the daily time frame. Price is on that resistance. And we can flip down to 1 hour. Now, the 1 hour, we cannot draw a trend line. That's not, we are not getting clarity. But on 15 minutes, yes, we can draw a trend line on the 15 minutes. Okay, the second trend line too is not working. Like I always say, it's not compulsory. But if you can, the better. So we're going to be waiting for a breakout to the downside on the New Zealand JPY. So we're bearish on this instrument. RSI should be clearly below 50. And for safety, I would suggest MACD also below 0. So we're bearish on the NZD JPY on 15 minutes time frame. And finally, we're also bearish on the AUD USD. Now, this is the only major currency pair I'm looking out for now. All right, so this is the AUD USD on the daily time frame. Here we can clearly see this instrument is in a downtrend, a lower high, a lower high. This is today's candle testing that lower high, the third time. If it's unable to break to the upside, we are expecting a reversal. Let's go down to the 4 hour. You can see on the 4 hour candle, we have a rejection candle here, which is also an indication of a possible bearish movement. Then 1 hour. On the 1 hour time frame, I'm seeing the possible formation of what may look like a head and shoulder and possibly a bearish breakout. That could be the neckline region. But let's still go down to 15 minutes. Maybe we'll get, or let me check 30 minutes first. 15 minutes. Okay, I think the 1 hour is clearer. So we'll see this as our shoulder, head, second shoulder, and we'll anticipate a breakout to the downside. Price is expected at least to target this recent low here, all things being equal. So we're anticipating a move to the tune of about 30 pips on the AUD USD. So we're bearish on AUD USD on the 15 minutes, sorry, on the 1 hour time frame, pardon me. So in summary, I'm bearish on the Euro CHF on 1 hour. I'm bearish on the GBP CHF on 1 hour. I'm bearish on the NZD JPY on 1 hour, and I'm bearish on the AUD USD on 1 hour. So all set up this afternoon is bearish, all of them bearish. So please take notes and bear that in mind as you trade this afternoon session. All right, Mr. Bello Mohammed is asking me to check BTC USD. Now, BTC USD has been in a downtrend for some time now, seeing a massive drop. Then later we saw a rejection candle, and that has led to some bounce to the upside, all of them on the daily time frame. Let's go down to a lower time frame, like 4 hour. All right, so we have a key level right here. We have a support, support, resistance, resistance. Now, my view is this: I anticipate that price may move and hit this area, which will become a confluence where there is, where price meets the lower trend line and the support turn resistance. And from there, I'm expecting a downward movement. So what I'm expecting is a move to this zone and a drop from there. This is 4-hour time frame. So we may want to look at entry around 1-hour time frame. But then let me just draw the trend lines to capture the projected move. All right, so price may move in between this pattern, but the important thing is that price comes to this confluence zone, and from there, we expect a breakout. So we're bearish on the BTC USD. CHFJPY, okay? You're welcome, sir. Mr. Bello Oluwafemi Mohammed. Now, for CHFJPY, price is trading around a psychological level at 195. Okay, that's 195.000. That's the psychological level up there. All right. So price hits this psychological level, with that level now acting as a resistance. The red candle there is the last week candle. So technically, we're looking for a bearish movement on this instrument this week. This is today's candle, the small red candle. Yesterday was a big bullish candle. But overall, our bias is bearish on this instrument. All right, so this is 4-hour. Okay, at the moment, I'm not really seeing so much clarity around this instrument. Whoever is asking this, I will suggest to trade with a lot of caution. Possibly, if you need to avoid this for now. Overall, we should have a bearish movement, but it's not. I'm not getting clarity as in a clear sign on this one for now. What I can say is this: if price breaks out below that support zone, you may see a further breakout downwards. And like I said, it's not clear. That's if this is now a shoulder ahead, a second shoulder, and a breakout. That's if it works like that. Because on another angle, I'm seeing an inverted and shoulder here, which may take price to the upside. So I think this person will just avoid this instrument from now. I'm not getting much clarity around it. Any other question as we round up? All right. In the absence of any other question, we'll end the analysis here. Trade safe and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye bye.